Everybody, welcome back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I'm your host and lead beat writer, Tucker Sennett, joining you here today to discuss the team that NC State fans should root for other than NC State down the stretch here in the 2026 ACC season for Wolfpack men's basketball. Lot on the line in these last three games for the Pack. Obviously, playing at Notre Dame on Saturday, that's a must-win game. And then a big Monday matchup against Duke in the Lenovo Center. Duke obviously will be a favorite in that one. And then wrapping up the season at home as well against Stanford. So, you know, the Wolfpack is very much alive for that top four seed as it currently stands. The Wolfpack is 10-5 in conference play, sitting in a pretty much a tie for fourth place. They are currently on the ACC website standings. They're listed in sixth behind North Carolina and Clemson. But if that holds, they would, from my understanding, they would leapfrog those two teams because they have the head-to-head matchups over both of those programs. So, if that's what it comes down to, NC State would jump those two programs because of those head-to-head tiebreakers. The team that really is of the most consequence for state down the stretch here is Miami because they're currently in third place. They're 11-4 in the conference. They have some difficult games down the stretch. It starts with an easy one against Boston College for them. Then they play an SMU team that's kind of scrapping to stay off the bubble at this point. It's my opinion that SMU should win that game, or excuse me, that Miami should win that game. But I'm not going to pencil them in as an automatic winner there. Those are two very, very solid teams that are playing really high level basketball at this point, and it's at SMU, so anything can happen on the road in conference play. And then Miami finishes up with Louisville. Miami obviously has the tiebreaker over NC State because of that loss, which continues to sting in these conference hypotheticals. But if Miami finishes third and some of these other teams sort of beat up on each other, I'm using uh, a website called the bball dot not nothing net that sort of projects tiebreakers, tie-breaking scenarios, etc. So, it's a helpful it's a helpful sort of tiebreaker situation. There is a tiebreaker world where if the season ended today, Clemson would be above NC State and UNC because they have a win over Miami at this point. That's I don't really fully understand that. They're it doesn't that doesn't really make sense because they have a head-to-head matchup. So this might not be a perfect system, but in that scenario, NC State would be the five seed playing for a chance to face Clemson in the quarterfinals. And so it would make NC State play that extra game. That's if there's no games, season ends today. If that isn't the case, things change. There's a lot to unfold here. There's a lot of scenarios. You could spend hours playing with this thing, depending on different results. But the team of consequence for NC State is Miami. So let's say Miami wins out, um, and I will make everything else fairly chalk on this calculator. So we'll go Miami, we'll go Duke there. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but we're gonna keep it as chalky as possible. Duke beats NC State. We'll go UNC beating Clemson, Virginia beating Wake Forest, Cal gets another win, Stanford, Florida State. Some of these games, again, not super consequential in the grand scheme of things. So, and this is also a hypothetical where NC State goes 2-1 with the loss to Duke. So in this situation, Miami finishes 14-4. They win out. NC State finishes 12-6. They're in fourth place above UNC based on head-to-head record. UNC below them, Louisville 11-7, Clemson 11-7, Cal 11-7, SMU 10-8. So that sort of fixes some things. Then in that case, NC State would play UNC with the double bye. So NC State would wait for that, or presumably it would be UNC, but UNC would have to beat either Syracuse or Stanford or in this situation, the 12 or 13 seed in that first Tuesday game of the ACC tournament. So definitely a different scenario there. But there's a lot on the line down the stretch, and it's that simple. And Miami winning out gives NC State a much better chance to finish in the top four based on this calculation. Again, not a perfect science, but kind of what we have to do down the stretch here to get a better idea of what's going on for the Wolfpack as the season moves along here. There's a scenario where NC State finds a way to beat Duke, and that changes everything because they would be, one of the only teams other than North Carolina that would have a win, or they would be the only other team other than North Carolina that would have a win over the Blue Devils. And that's assuming that Duke is able to take care of Virginia on Saturday in Cameron. We'll see. I think Virginia is a very, very strong team and has a chance to win that game. So that's kind of a wait and see kind of event. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. It's getting down to it. It's going to be March before you know it. Just a couple days left in February, and then we will be in the thick of conference tournament season. Lots of March breakdowns, bracket updates, etc., coming your way here at NC State on SI. Feel free to follow me on X at Senate Tucker. You can also follow our website on X at Wolfpack on SI. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sports Videos on SI. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.